is Maggie. I have an infertility diagnosis due to premature ovarian failure, and today I want to talk about picking an IVF clinic. So, I want to talk about finding data, statistics, and reviews, things to consider for yourself when picking a clinic, and then also questions to ask yourself slash the clinic when you're going to make your choice. So, first, to start with finding data and statistics about IVF clinics that you're considering, you can go to the CDC website or the Society of Assisted Reproductive Technology. I'll link both those sites below so you can take a look. Those are both going to have statistics on clinics and that type of stuff. When I consider with those statistics, try to drill it down to your situation to get a fair comparison between clinics. And pick from there and have that information for yourself. If you want to look at more review type of a site, then Fertility IQ is a good resource for that. I'll also link it below. Outside of online resources is you might know somebody that has used a fertility clinic. And they could offer you good insight if you're trying to find something like that. So we actually picked our clinic mostly based on a family member's review and experience with that clinic. So that's another option to look for is if you ask around or know somebody that's been through treatment, then you might want to ask them their opinion on the clinic, and to get a good idea of something outside of an internet review or just looking at statistics. So something to consider. And then speaking of things to consider, let's move on to that. So a big consideration with IVF treatment is going to be cost. So you'll want to look at that, try to talk to the financial counselor at the clinic, see what options that they might have for finances and what the cost would actually look like for your situation, so you can make a plan. And you also want to consider your insurance, looking at the insurance website I call my insurance company. I've called them a few times to ask about coverage and billing codes and stuff like that. So figuring out how your clinic codes treatment, what treatment they're going to charge for, and then how your insurance is going to figure that too, so you can keep track of all that and make a plan. So the finances is a whole other video, but those are big things to consider. And then along with the insurance and the clinic and stuff is in-network versus out-of-network doctors. Consider that your main doctor at the clinic might not be the only one charging for services. So at our clinic, there's the doctor that does the transfer, that does like the patient care side. Then there's also the embryologist. So the clinic doctor, he is in network for me, but then the embryologist is not. So, and that embryologist isn't in network anywhere. So that's something to consider for sure at the clinic that I would not have known to ask for before I started in this process. So all stuff to take a look at. The insurance and finances is just a whole beast. So something to look at. Then next big thing is location. So in my area, there's not a bunch of choices for fertility clinics. I live in Iowa. There's I think two that I can really think of. There's probably more, but as far as a bunch of options, that there's just not a lot. So we looked to going outside of our area, and mostly at that family referral. So it's a clinic in Southern California. There's a lot of IVF clinics in Southern California. It's a big city for one, but then it also just seems to be like a hotbed of IVF treatment and research and progress. So that's another big positive for the clinic that we chose. And As far as location goes too, some people I know I've seen through digging around online about it and like how to pick a clinic. Some people have chosen to go out of the U.S. One of the places I saw around that was to go to Czech Republic. Treatment is less expensive there. Some places offer some kind of guarantees and stuff, because a lot of the clinics I found here, there's not really a guarantee. It could work, but it couldn't work, and you got to pay for it anyway. So it's pretty scary with how much money it costs. But kind of one of the downsides I saw about going outside of the US, and it's not really a downside for me, but it could be for you, is that in Europe, I've seen that clinics can't treat couples who are not heterosexual married couples. So that's a big consideration for some people. And also in Europe, gestational carriers don't seem to be allowed either. None of those things are stuff that we're pursuing right now, but that could be a big consideration for you, is if a clinic is willing to treat all types of couples. So that might be a reason that somebody from Europe, or not Europe, I don't believe China allows for some of this stuff either. So I'm not super familiar with all the laws around everywhere, but I know that that's a reason that some couples decide to come to America for treatment. Not really out of a decision, but because of the options available in their area. So something to consider there. And then questions to ask yourself too is what type of treatment do you want? Do you want like a smaller, more personalized, where you're interacting with a smaller group of people and get to know those people more? Do you want a larger clinic that perhaps has more resources available to it? What's important to you there? What hours are the clinic open? If the clinic is local to you, how local is it? Like, how easy is it going to be for you to go there? I know in some circumstances, if the clinic isn't open all of the time, that could, or not all the time, but every day of the week, that could delay treatment by a month, depending on how cycles work out. So that's all stuff to consider too, to make sure that whatever you choose, you have the information that you want about it. So when you do decide to pursue a consultation with the clinic, try to think of like any crazy question that you can, like any possible scenario, so that even if it doesn't end up being relevant, at least you have the information beforehand. So find a good question asker in your life and to have them help you get prepared for the consultation with a clinic, because you're going to want as much information as you can. And if you're like me, you're bad at coming up with questions, just like I'm good to go along with stuff. But that's not something you really want in this situation. You want somebody that's going to ask a lot of questions. Because it might be information that's helpful to know later. So that's my thoughts on choosing the clinic, some stuff that I think might be helpful. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear any experiences that you have. And thank you so much for watching.